Welcome to BalanceLogic's Whiteboard Wednesday. My name is Bill Campbell, and today's session is going to be on how to create a SWOT analysis. So what does SWOT stand for? SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So what is a SWOT analysis? A SWOT analysis is a tool used to put together and look at internals and externals, positives and negatives of a company, and put it into an easy-to-read format. So why do we use a SWOT analysis? We use a SWOT analysis to assess our company while we're putting together a business strategy. You can use a SWOT analysis for a department or a team, or you can do a personal SWOT analysis to determine your leadership skills. Another good idea is if you're a nonprofit, you can use a SWOT analysis when you're putting together a fundraiser, looking to choose what fundraiser you want, and do a fundraiser SWOT. Alright, so let's get down to it. The first thing we want to do is create the format for a SWOT, which is a 2x2 square with 4 different quadrants. Each quadrant is a different category: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So the first thing we're going to do is cut this in half. So we have the top half and the bottom half. The top half is what we call internals. Internal items are things that the company can control that happen inside the company. Strengths and weaknesses are internals because usually we can control what we're good at and what we're not so good at. The lower half is opportunities and threats, or what we call externals. Externals are things that the company usually cannot control that happen outside of the company. And they just happen, and the company just needs to identify them and keep track of them. So, now that we have our top and bottom, or our internals and externals, now we'll cut it down here. That will create our 4 quadrants. And then we'll break it in from left to right. On the left side, we have our strengths and opportunities. These are our positives, things that make a positive impact to our company. On the right-hand side, we have our weaknesses and our threats. And they are negatives, things that make a negative or could potentially make a negative impact on the company. So we have our internals and externals, our internal strengths and weaknesses, and then we have our positives and negatives, which are our strengths and opportunities, and our weaknesses and our threats. So now we can talk about some examples of each. So strengths. When we put together strengths, what we want to find out is what is the company good at. And some of the things that come to mind are products. Does your company have a superior product? Is it a market leader? Another thing is price. Does your company have a really good competitive price that makes you stand out from everybody else? Also, branding. If you have a good solid brand, something that really identifies you as a leader in that industry, that stands apart from your competition. These are things that are positives, these are things that are internal, things that you can control, and what your company does well. Moving over to weaknesses. Some of the weaknesses that a company could have is staff, and typically turnover of staff, or lack of training of staff, non-experienced staff. That would be a weakness. Another weakness is cash flow, or lack of cash flow, or lack of reserves. And if we don't have good cash flow and we don't have good cash reserve, then that could potentially make an impact to our daily operations. Another weakness that we have could be strategy. And that's not the lack of strategy, not having a strategy. And that could be a marketing strategy or a business plan. And obviously one of the parts of our business plan is doing this SWOT analysis here. So that's strengths and weaknesses. Moving down to opportunities. A good opportunity would be competition. And that's a weird one. Competition is looking at your competition, seeing what they're doing, seeing what they're not doing, and then capitalizing on that, which would turn into an opportunity for you to improve the company. Another opportunity is strategic partnerships. Putting together some good strategic partnerships that will allow you to position yourself in the market. Another opportunity is loyal clients. If you have a good base of loyal clients, you'll be able to go back to them and sell additional services, and you'll also get word of mouth marketing, or you'll get more referrals from that. So that's some of the opportunities you can look at. Threats. Threats we definitely want to identify here. And one good threat is competition. Not a good threat, but a threat. So competition is a threat because maybe they're doing a big advertising campaign. They're doing a huge advertising campaign, and it's going to put the focus on them and potentially take clients or opportunities away from you. Another threat could be competition again, and that is branding or brand identity. If your competitor puts together a new brand identity, puts that out there, again, that puts the focus on them. The third threat is contracts expiring. If you have big contracts that are coming up, they're getting ready to expire, and you're not sure if they're going to renew or not, that could make a huge impact and threaten your business operations as well as revenue. So these are some of the threats we went over strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, some examples of each category. So now what do we do with each of these categories now that we have it? Well, in our strengths, what we're going to do with these is we're going to capitalize on that. We're going to take our strengths, use them to our advantage, and capitalize on them. All right, so what do we do with weaknesses? We strengthen them. Okay, opportunities. What we do with opportunities? We want to invest on our opportunities, because if we don't, then we're going to lose that opportunity. Threats. What do we do with threats? We want to make sure we identify them, so we know where they are, keep them in our back pocket and in front of our mind. So now that we have all this information, what do we do with all this? This is great. A lot of people stop right here. They don't do anything with it. So what you need to do with all this is create a list of ideas. And then you take those ideas and you turn those ideas into objectives. And once you have your objectives, then you work towards achieving those, and then once you do that, you move your company forward. So thank you for joining us for BalanceLogic's Whiteboard Wednesday, and until next time, have a great day.